Grand Rising loves. Happy Thursday. Thursday is the day ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet of abundance. And I am feeling very abundant today. So let's get started. So how about that full moon, y'all? Wow. And so this abundance that I'm moving in through is, and I just had a conversation with Lisa, beautiful Lisa, Lisa Magana. So if you look her up on Instagram, Lisa Sofia Magana, and if you start typing sweet, SW33T, so it's like the backwards E's, they're threes, then you'll be able to find her. And so we were talking about like the receiving, if there's shame around receiving, and she's on here. So you'll be able to see her handle right there, the SW33TEL3CTRICK. So today being a Jupiter day, really be aware of your expansion, your abundance, and just feel into that. And where is Jupiter in your chart? And what movements are Jupiter making right now? And where is Jupiter right now? And paying attention to those things really are a great life hack. And that's why I follow her posts, because she talks about that often, which I really love. Another one that posts a lot about the movements of the planets. If you listen to Moon Mama, which is Monique Ruffin, she does that as well. And Moon Omens, those are like my top three go-tos. Lisa, Moon Omens, and Moon Mama. And then on Facebook, Lolita Caroli Astrology. And she kind of gives the mythological aspects of astrology, like what we're moving through in the archetypes. And Lisa, I love it because it speaks to me in a whole different level. It's more of the feeling level of astrology, which is more my language as a Taurus, how I process things through the body. And so I love that about the way that she explains things, because it's my language. She speaks my language. And Horus was the first gent to show up for me today. And I've always known in this life path that I am meant to have a sacred merging, a divine merging. And from very young age, I actually had soul memory of, I didn't have the vocabulary for it, but I knew that I was reaching the state of samadhi through orgasm. And so I knew that my purpose here had to do with that merging of that energy. And so Horus is the product of the merging of divine energies of Isis and Osiris, and Horus, the all-seeing eye of really the collective consciousness. So merging in that divine way actually begins to heal the frequency of divine union. And honestly, and since I have a couple males on here listening, it is my expressed belief, and I know, like in my deepest knowing, that it is the inability of the masculine to be in his integrity that has really fucked up humanity. And so if we begin to right our integrity, it starts to realign the energy that we can return to unity consciousness. And that is so important. And so this showing up is what it comes up in my meditations, the merging of that energy and the birth of the consciousness, of the collective consciousness. Because there are so many people claiming to be conscious and they don't have the depth. And they're using it as like a pickup line. And that is out of integrity. And they don't even know the nuances of polarity. And so they slip out of consciousness very easily. And that's disheartening. But I'm holding fast because I know that to be a truth. And so the second one that showed up was Ragiel, Archangel Ragiel. And this talks about clairsentience, like all of my feels, which is true. And that's what I just talked about, Lisa, like why I enjoyed doing my reading with her so deeply is because she explained the feels of my chart. So Lisa says, and as an awakened woman, it's our responsibility to call you on it. Yes, absolutely. Like that's the job of the divine feminine, is to reprimand the masculine when he falls out of consciousness. Now, it works either by invitation or retraction. And when the male stays in his consciousness, he has no other choice but for his consciousness to fall into what he needs to do. Either answer the call of action or soften, right? Depending on if he's being reprimanded or invited. And so it's the male's inability to stay in his integrity and consciousness that is causing disharmony in that. And I will say also in a lot of women, and I don't see that in any woman that's on this right now, by the way. Lisa, Maria is beautiful. They understand these energies. Diana, I saw, got on earlier. And so they understand these energies, that being a conscious woman, we have to radically stay in our consciousness, even through discomfort. And so we are observing, but through our own energy, we are inviting or reprimanding. Okay? And so it's the masculine that needs to be healed, but even within ourselves, right? So the ego is an impediment. It is the disease of the intellect, and the intellect is masculine energy within everyone. So every woman and every man has masculine, feminine, okay? And so this intellect is masculine energy. If ego gets involved at all and you start doing that incessant judgment and thinking and worrying, that is toxic male energy. And then you are portraying toxic male, and your partner falls out of consciousness too. So it is our responsibility, and we know this, every woman that's on here right now I know knows this, to radically stay in that consciousness. And so it's super important. Lisa says, as an awakened woman, okay, no, I already read that. Harmony through conflict. Yes. And that's the thing. So many people think that relationship, that you have to be ready. And I think the whole terminology of ready is also our own resistance to like diving in, right? Thinking that, okay, am I, like Lorene calls it, eroticizing our trauma? Or like other people saying, romanticizing our trauma. So wait till we're ready. There's no such thing as ready. We are always ready. And so we refine ourselves through connection. And so however long that lasts or doesn't last, those connections always refine us, because we get to see and observe ourselves in a way. Like I know, and no one holds me accountable more than I hold myself accountable, but that is exactly where my ego shows up, is in intimacy. So if I don't allow myself and permit myself to be in those situations, then I perpetuate toxic male energy, because it stays in there, because I don't have any other environment to really work on that. With myself, yes, but with myself, I'm safe. So even my feminine with my masculine self, I am ultimately safe. But I can fall into being very human the minute I'm in an intimate setting. She says, yes, within the sacred womb. Yes. So, and then the third ascended master is Manjushri, that showed up in Listen. So this is one of the most powerful energies of the divine feminine, is the receiving, but the receiving through listening. And it's just holding space. So men even have this, but it's like hardwired into men to be fixers. So they have a really hard go with this usually, like just to shut the fuck up sometimes. And that's why they fall out of integrity. And so nothing is yet set in stone. This is the mutable moon. And so we talked about this the other day. This showed up for me. And this doesn't mean that, because I can have this conversation all day, every day about free will, that I don't believe it exists in the human experience. But this is about surrendering. That I really don't know what I think I know, and I need to let go of what I think I know and embrace the unknown, because the unknown is teaching me to trust again. So nothing is set in stone is saying, you really don't know what you think you fucking know. Like, let it go. Like, all possibilities are infinite. And I like that. When this shows up, it just keeps me in check. And so the flame tree. And so this has really been a message that's been coming up for me a lot. And now it's coming up in this deck, the start of something new. And so I know I'm moving in because I am doing deeper healing on myself. And because of the eclipse, and now I'm in this other square happening with my Port of Fortune and Jupiter and Uranus and anyway, it's really powerful, and it's supposed to last until the end of next week. So I'm actually on vacation right now. And so I'm going to go have a mani-pedi today, where it's normally on Mondays, but Monday's a holiday. So I'm going today. And I will be with my feet in the Pacific Ocean tomorrow, because my daughter graduated and I'm taking her to San Diego tomorrow. So I am so excited for that. Now, the sacred geometry that showed up for me today is Kabbalah. Kabbalah is basically the tree of knowledge, the tree of life, but this is their version of that. These are the different stages of enlightenment, the different archetypes of our spiritual growth. And this reigns in, because it showed up upright, the message of next leveling. So I'm leveling up, and I knew that I could feel the expansion happening. I haven't been sleeping well. I've been feeling really fiery and powerful. Actually, before the shift, this transit even happened, and I usually do pre-feel it. I usually feel it before it happens anyway, but I really think the key moment was having my chart done with Lisa and feeling into my chart with her. I mean, I've always said on these videos, if you haven't ever had your natal chart done, please do. It really is one of the greatest life hacks to get that view. It's a blueprint for your human experience. And so I dabble a little bit, and I don't know a whole lot. I mean, I follow those people that I had mentioned to help me fine tune my understanding. But she really taught it in a way that was like, all these synchronicities. First of all, talking about the rays, which is something that comes up for me in meditation. So I've never even went down the rabbit hole of reading about them. This is something that I've been receiving from higher wisdom in my meditation. And she started talking about it in my chart. And I was like, holy fuck, wait a second, rewind, what? And then talking about the energies and really revealed something, a huge part of myself that I was repressing. I didn't want to own the fact that I was even fiery, and I was really repressing that. And the way that she explained it to me, she's like, look, you cannot deny this. Like, it's in every part of your chart. You can't deny it. The 7 rays, yes. And so I had to own it. And I'm not going to say that I cried, but I wanted to cry. And it was more like, it was the resistance. I could feel the resistance, like dragging my feet in wet sand. It's intense. And it's so easy to stay small. It's so easy to dim your own light. And then I took a sexual polarity class, and that really revealed more parts of myself and how I could have assisted myself, how I could have been kinder with myself in intimate situations, instead of bracing, but instead allowing and surrendering. Because really, nothing can injure us. Nothing can harm us. Everything is for our betterment. So if someone seemingly abandons or rejects you, it has to do with them. It doesn't have shit to do with you. And it's because you are revealing parts of them that they are resisting, that they are rejecting. And so that, and also like what I just talked about, the whole play of I'm reprimanding the masculine. Stay present and stay in your integrity, motherfucker. Like, we can feel that, and honoring our intuition around that is so important. Who does what, Samantha? Who does what? Oh, who does the charts? Right there. Is that what you're talking about? Lisa, look at it, the screen name, SW33TEL 3CTRICK. You can look up Lisa Sophia Magana. And she's on here, and she's doing the hearts right now. But I think, Samantha, you would really jive with her because you're like me. You process better through the feeling self. And so the way she explains the chart is like, so message her. And then Treasure Island showed up. First of all, number 9 is the number of completion, but Treasure Island is also talking about what the flame tree says. Something new is coming in, and I'm gonna be rewarded. I'm being rewarded for my hard work. And it's about motherfucking time. And Lisa actually said on a text this morning, she says, Sherry, get comfortable receiving, because it's gonna happen. You're gonna get that windfall, and you have to be comfortable receiving. So just fall into it. Oh, cool, Lori. Did you schedule with her already too? Yay, Hercules. I love connecting all my divine soul sisters. Okay, and so I didn't get a stone again. I tend to get these cards instead of stones a lot too, like the storm card, the fire, and water. So water, remember, teaches us so much about surrender and to flow. And so I always use the example of like that, the heavy cloud lets the rain droplet come down, but if it freezes in midair, it still continues its path, but it crystallizes into this beautiful sacred geometry, falls to the earth, the cold earth, and even in that pause, its path has not been thwarted. It waits to be warmed, and it melts into the earth until it can evaporate again. So water never ever loses its path, never ever loses its purpose. It is the basis of all life. And it's been scientifically proven to hold memory. Water teaches us so much, but we can literally change the molecular structure of water by infusing it with love. And so if we can do that with water, we can do that with ourselves. It changes every cell in our body. Lisa says the container for all the feels, water, life, love. Yes. And so water showed up for me. So I know for sure, feeling into the emotion today and allowing and just flowing today. And I'm grateful for that because I'm not working today, and it's all about the receiving, and I'm doing it. So this is what's interesting. The culmination of today's spread, Solvi Polluti, talks about dissolving toxicity, clearing toxicity, purifying toxicity, and holy shit, right? So the full moon and the eclipse is all about removing that which is no longer serving. Retrograde planets are all about removing that which is toxic or not serving your highest self, your highest path. And so that's so important for us to be aware of what is affecting us, what exhausts you. And people don't realize it's easy to play small. They think, right? Because the ego says, oh, this is easy. You already know this. You've been doing this. Here's the script. Do it. And you go from that programming, right? And that programming is actually toxic male energy within yourself. So even women, toxic male energy. But it's not easier. It's actually what creates misery, and it perpetuates the chaos and the corruption that we're experiencing in the whole collective consciousness. And it is exhausting. So it's not easier, it's fucking exhausting. So getting into your heart space, into your feeling self, rather than your thinking self, it actually fixes that, it rights it. And so I do have a new batch of the Florida water, and I do this every full moon. So if you're interested, you can get that on my website or just DM me. So the Florida water is a spiritual cleanse, a sacred bath, or you can use this and add it to distilled water to wear as a shield, as a psychic shield, or for your space. If you cannot burn sage, or if you don't like to burn sage, I actually use this as a sheet spray as well to protect me in my sleep and dream states. But I do create a new batch every full moon. So this is the newest batch. You would empty the entire contents into a bath, or like I said, add it to distilled water. But that's my version of Florida water. So, okay, what do we hear? Love Light Consciousness says we are like 99% water. We are hugely. Western medicine says like 70%, but I would lean more towards what you're saying. Definitely more percentage of water. Like paddling upstream. Exactly. And I call it Sisyphus, like pushing a boulder up the mountain. But yes, it's like going against the current. When you're going against the current, it's like dragging your feet in wet sand, right? It's like you're really going against the natural flow of your path and your purpose. And so Solve Paluti came in for me to get rid of that toxicity. And then my rune for the day is Dagas. And I love this because this also talks about the start of something new. And so that's what I always look for in my spreads, is the synchronicities. What are the synchronicities that are showing up for me? And so Dagas talks about the burst of light in the darkness, that this is a huge shift in consciousness for me. And it truly is. And that's supposed to happen this week, to the point of that it's even going to shift me physically. And so that's why I actually took these 2 weeks off. I still taught my class last night, but that's why I wanted it to be live, to show you what I do. I will not be teaching next week, but I'll be in Monterey on the beach. So I'm really considering maybe doing a live again from the beach and letting us do a collective meditation there so I can connect with the Pacific, because I think that would be a really good idea, to unify our energy so that I can put that energy into that beautiful body of water. So let's see. Love, Light, and Consciousness says, I've been in a heavy detox mode. Yeah, and the full moon is really amazing to assist in detox. And really retrogrades are powerful for detoxing too, because it's all about the review. People are so scared, like Lisa said this morning, she goes, people are so scared of retrogrades. It's so true. But literally, I was born for this shit. There was like 5 planets in retrograde the moment I was born. So it's huge. And so literally, yeah, I was built for this and I'm ready for it. And I've always known, even as a small child, like this is my last human inception. So I'm here to do it. And I'm I'm ready to not pussyfoot anymore. So as much information that I can get on myself to move past that, like Lisa gifting me, like, you are fire, woman. Like, you have to own that and become the phoenix. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do it. Deep breath, scary as fuck, but yeah. Kathy says, I am a water baby. I love it. Yes, that's my daughter. She's a mermaid. Because they don't want to face their shit. Thank you. Love, light, and consciousness. Yes. And the resistance to facing the shit really isn't about like, I'm a bad person, I'm afraid to see like my darkness and how bad I am. It's really more about owning their power. That's what it is for me. The resistance for me is my powerful self. What is my resistance? Stepping into my real power. What's that going to look like? Because people already don't relate to me. People already don't understand me. People already don't see the world the way I do. And it feels lonely sometimes. And so I feel like if I keep going, I will be completely shunned. And so I have to feel into that. Like right now, even talking about it, I'm feeling nauseous. Like literally, I know that that's what it is. The resistance to me owning my power is that the whole entire consciousness will turn their back on me. And so is it that deep witch wound of being like offered to the fire? And my own addiction to destruction because I'm just tired of playing human, because it's a dense fucking experience. And so like I can look back on my human experience and say, yeah, on some level I was addicted to re-traumatizing myself, because I'm like, look, what's my ticket out of this motherfucker? Yes. And so you're on a higher frequency, right? And it's not where the majority is. Oh, yes. I feel you on my path. Thank you. I know you'll still be my friend, and I love you for that. And so Chiron is in Aries for 7 years, and we have time to process it for sure. And my Chiron, my natal Chiron, is actually in Aries. So it's like, whew, I really feel that fiery energy moving through me. And for Lisa to like magnify that and expose me, like literally to say, I sat in your chart for a couple minutes and all I could say was, I wanted to give you compassion. I felt that crack me open. And I've had my chart done before, and it's never been put to me in an emotional way. And so I don't speak cerebral. And I like stories, and I like the whole archetype stories and all that. I love that. So Lolita does that, and I love that. But to have it handed to me in an emotional way, it was a beautiful gift, because I felt, and this is gonna make me emotional, for the first time really seen. So thank you for that, Lisa, because you gifted me something that was, I thought, impossible. So thank you. I'm not gonna vomit, I promise. Ugh, but I had to breathe into that because I felt it move all the way through. I did. And it's actually right here, right now. I love you too, Lisa. So Love, Light, and Consciousness says, I've been in the loneliness, but now I just love to be by myself. And so that's what I have a fear around, love, light, and consciousness, because as a child, I was so neglected. I was always alone, and I actually loved it. And so as an adult, I started to embrace like the power of having a support system, like as a partnership. And so I have a longing, and that's how I explain it. It's not really a loneliness, because I know how to be alone, and I revere my solitude. I really do, that reflection. And I don't want to relinquish that. I don't want to be owned. I want to be ultimately free in a partnership. But the partnership is about being a catalyst, and also knowing that you have that that foundational support, so that you can actually fully embody who you came here to be. So, and Diana says, the people who love you unconditionally will always be there. That is so true, Diana. Thank you. And so really that's what this retrograde is about. And probably the next 7 years for this Chiron is for me to just let go of everything that is really like the speed bumps on my path. And so retracting from the fire energy causes you to become isolated and to be introverted, which is exactly what I did. And so I loved myself there. And I remember this one random man who didn't even know me messaged me, and he says, I see you. And he says, but you can't hermit yourself. You're not supposed to hermit yourself. And I said, what do you mean? Because I didn't even know this dude. I'm like, okay. And I get these random ass messages all the time. I don't even know how they find me. Of course there's no coincidences. And I've known this since I was a young girl. Like literally the first time I had experiences like that, I was like 12. Random guy in New York said something to me. He goes, you don't even know who you are. Oh, the whole world is going to know who you are. And I was like this punky kid, and I was like, okay, whatever, he's crazy. And so he told me that. He said, you can't hermit yourself. And I was like, I'm not hermiting myself. But I really was. I was introverting myself. And yes, I'm now finding my tribe too. Aw, thank you, inviting me into your tribe. And so Lisa says it feels safe, but long term it will propel you back into the fire energy. Yeah, and so that's exactly what's happening. I'm being forced back into it. And because what is happening is that the universe is saying, we're not going to reward you for doing this, Sherry. We're not going to reward you for playing small. So it's almost like being reprimanded by the grand source. You know, like step into this and then you'll get the grace, the treasure island. This is rewards for work put in. We see the work you've done and just now receive. So it's scary for me, even as someone who's self-employed, to take a couple weeks off. It's scary. And but I am permitting myself to do that because I know that when I fall back, I'll be caught. And it's because I'm honoring that. So yes, thank you. And so the longingness is to have that foundational support. It's not to be owned and or to find my validation in someone else, because I don't seek my validation in anyone else. It's just to have that support, to be a catalyst, to become my greater self, to mirror to me, to call me out on my shit so that I'm not the only one calling me out on my shit. And to say, ultimately, it's okay. Everything's going to be okay. Let me smooth your hair for you. Let me kiss the nape of your neck and smack you on the booty. Because those booty smacks and rubs, they can't, like the spooning, come on. Can I just get a big spoon? Anyhow, so that's the spread for today. If you're interested in the Florida water, I actually have a video up on my timeline that explains exactly what it is, how I make it, the intention that's put into it. I use the highest quality of essential oils, pharmaceutical grade, doTERRA. I use organic, 100 proof vodka. And I use the sacred rose water that's imported from India. So it's very expensive to make financially, but I put a great amount of intent and spiritual infused energy into it. And then I charge it not only on my altar for 2 days, but then it gets charged by the full moon. So, and I make it in blue glass, right? So for those who are familiar with Ho'oponopono, like blue solar water is really powerful. So I actually leave it out. I put it out in the morning, so it spends the entire day in the sun and then the entire night under the full moon. So it's really powerful. I've gotten good feedback on it, and so if you're interested, those who have used it, you can also see. Oh, thank you. So I know that there's some on here that have actually tried my Florida water too. So anyhow, that's the spread, and it's time for me to skedaddle so that I can go get my mani-pedi. And the first suggestion for color, I'll take it. Anybody have a color suggestion? Because I'm always looking for new colors. What color should I do? Was aware of some what? I don't know what you're talking about, Patty. Red? Oh, red is scary. Okay, I'll do it, Lisa. I'll do it. Oh, that's scary. All right. I'm doing it because it scared me. I have purple right now. I can't do purple again right away. I have to wait to do purple. But the coral and purple are going to be in the lineup. But I'm going to go red. I love you, Lisa. I love you, Patty. I love you, Love, Light, and Consciousness. I love you, Diana, if you're still on here. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Thank you for sharing your most valuable commodity with me, your time and your energy. And please, I am sorry for any disharmony or misalignment that I myself have caused. Please forgive me. Thank you for this opportunity and sharing this time and space with me and your energy. I feel you, and I love you all. I love you, I love you, I love you.